All right, guys, what's going on? It is Tuesday, April 13th, 2 days away from the Mavic Air 2S release. So I uploaded a little video based on what supposedly someone found and got one at Best Buy and had a really low resolution image of the spec sheet. But apparently someone with a YouTube channel that commented on my page was kind enough to send me some images that he just got one. And this is a little video, as you can see, of him. Let me start it. It's kind of low quality video, but he was opening up the Air 2S. And apparently he got it on OfferUp or something like that. So it is legit, and I do believe him. And he sent me some files, and I'm just going to kind of confirm a few things with you that I think people have been questioning. And mainly, let's get in the Photoshop. I'm going to show you. First off, he has, as you see here, I'm going to go in the full screen mode. We have the Mavic Air 2S battery in the Mavic Air 2. So they seem to be cross compatible or backwards compatible. So that is, I guess, good to know. So people with a lot of Mavic Air 2 batteries, they should be able to work with the 2S if you do have that as a possibility. Let's go over to the next image. And as you see, I think you can clearly tell that this is for real. The Mavic Air 2S with the upward sensors right here. And the one in the back, kind of right in the butt. So we got a little Mavic Air 2S butt sensor. We're going to cross over to the next image. This is a picture of the two batteries side by side. Let's see what it says. Max charge voltage 13.2, normal voltage 11.55, normal voltage 11.55, rated capacity, same exact battery from what it seems. So that's kind of interesting. Let me see here. 3,500 milliamps, 11.55. So these seem to be pretty darn comparable, so that is good to know that the battery for the Mavic Air 2 does work with the 2S and vice versa. So I think that can pretty much be confirmed. Let me go over to the next image, Control Tab over in Photoshop. Oh, shoot. Let me get out of these guys. Portraits. Okay, so now we have actually a high resolution spec sheet where we can read completely clearly about the specs of this Mavic Air 2. So we see takeoff weight, and I'm sure a lot of people know this already with the bazillion videos, but I figured I'd just kind of do a follow-up based on the actual spec sheet that I was trying to look at and I could barely see. It's nice to have a nice high-resolution version of this. Whoop, it's getting away from me. Come on, what are you doing? Okay, so now we have, again, takeoff weight, 595 grams, max flight time, 31 minutes, zero wind while flying at a consistent 12 miles an hour. Again, operating temperature range, 0 degrees to 40 degrees Celsius, which is 32 degrees to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. We got the operating frequencies for those who want to know about all this. Transmitter power. We have camera, and it just says 1-inch CMOS effective pixels, 20 megapixels, as opposed to the 48 megapixels out of the Mavic Air 2. I don't know if there's going to be something extra in a different mode that will allow us to get higher resolution still pictures, but we'll see. Then we have the lens that says FOV, 88 degrees, 35 millimeter format equivalent, 22 millimeter aperture fixed f2.8, focus range 0.6 meters to infinity. And then we have what else? ISO range. This is what I was trying to read, which I can now clearly read, thankfully, without my glasses. 100 to 3200 ISO in auto. And if we're shooting manual ISO, or manual I should say, we have the option to go 100 to 6400. So I don't know how the 6400 will actually handle, even with a 1-inch sensor, but I'm curious. It'll be kind of neat to see. Then we have video 10-bit, and this is just the ISO. So we know it's capable of 10-bit. We just don't know what modes that 10-bit will be available in. So we don't know if it's going to be 4K, 5.4K, who knows. But I couldn't imagine 5.4K because that would be pretty intensive. So for the processing, so we have 10-bit 100 to 800 auto ISO, 100 to 1600, so you can go up to 1600 ISO, 10-bit when you're shooting manual. And then we have photo, 100 to 3200 ISO, auto, 100 to 12,800 manual. So manual is going to give you that much more range with your ISO capability. So again, more reason to shoot manual. I don't know why this thing's kind of getting away from me. Electronic shutter speed up to 1/8,000th of a second, so it has a fast shutter. We have max image size, 5400 or 5472, I'm sorry, by 3648 pixels. And again, 3.2 ratio, 5472 by 3078. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a 16:9 ratio. And then we see the video resolution. We have 5.4K and 24, 25, and 30 frames per second, 4K Ultra HD, and that's 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60, and blah, blah, blah. So this is basically your video resolutions with your frame rates. We have the remote controller. We have the operating frequency and all of this fun stuff, which you can see. Max transmission distance, 12, kilometers, and 8 kilometers. Operating current voltage. But you can see this is essentially what I was trying to read to you guys the other night, and I had a really crappy image to do so, and it was really hard to make out. So this is nice to see a confirmation of what it is. This is that. We have the spec sheet, legit, and then we have another picture from the top. This is the Mavic Air 2, and this was really kind of him to send this to me, and he gave me permission to use this. You could see ADS AirSense kind of thing going on. And he has the actual battery in from the Air 2S with a sticker on it still. And then he had the other picture of this battery in the Mavic Air 2. So again, cross-compatible, which is good to know, always helpful. And here's a picture of the front. So here we have the Air 2S, as you can see, with the sensors and the top sensors, the bigger. So we can pretty much confirm that this is not going to be a filter that's going to work. So people who want to have their filters on their Air 2, like I have, probably $300 in filters, it's not going to be compatible because, as you could kind of see, it just looks a lot bigger on this 1-inch sensor Air 2S. What else can we see? Let's zoom in a little bit. Boom. We're going to scroll around. So 1-inch 20 megapixel to 48 megapixel. And again, both fixed f2.8 lenses. This does look like a cleaner looking camera, but again, this does give you really amazing images. And the 48 megapixel, however it gets to it, does do a pretty darn good job. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a more expensive drone, as I touched on and everyone else has touched on. But this is a side-to-side view, and I'm just going to let it sit like that for you guys to sink in, of the two front ends of the drones. And I could pretty much confirm that the filters are not going to be the same for the Air 2 and the Air 2S. So that kind of stinks. I got Tiffin and even Polar Pro and Freewell. I got a bunch for whatever reason for my Air 2, and those are not going to be good for the Air 2S. So that is that, and we're going to move on, and we can see again the difference. Let's kind of zoom in a little bit. I mean, this is a pretty high resolution file. You can see the sensors up there. Do a little inspection work. Still got the stickers on this Air 2S. And we're going to move on again. So here's the bottom, the underbelly of the two drones. So as you can see, clearly this filter is not going to fit this. So two different drones, two different cameras and gimbals, and not going to happen. But we have the different aluminum heat sinks. They look kind of comparable, a little different. This is definitely a beefier gimbal, as you can see. And we're going to kind of scroll up a little bit. And just that much different, but similar. We'll scroll down a little. We have a Mavic tag on the Air 2. It just says DJI on the Air 2S. As you see, I'm going to go and zoom in a little bit. There we go. The gimbal definitely is a lot different on the Air 2S compared to the Air 2. So smaller, different color, different heatsink, different everything for the most part. So we're going to continue on to the next image. And now we have the props. As you can see, the orange ones are the Air 2S, and these are the Air 2. So look very comparable. I don't know if they're a little different, but for the most part, I don't know if he said they were actually. Let me see. I believe he commented. I'm going to go into this in YouTube. This was his account. It doesn't seem like he has a large account, and he doesn't do a ton, but very kind of him to share what he shared. And let me see what he said. So he said, just open it. The manual says it has 10-bit video. He doesn't specify. Batteries seem to be backwards compatible with the Air 2. The info on the batteries are exact. So let me see what else he said. I don't know about the props, but again, not a big deal. But the props do look comparable. I don't know if they look a little different, but we're going to go on to the next slide. I think he has another set of props, or this is the same kind of thing. I think just a little different. But again, just kind of giving you a little glimpse of what he sent me. And I'm just sharing a little clearer vision of everything. And this is basically what we're going to have in 2 days anyway. So I don't think this guy's going to activate his, because I believe he can't even activate it yet. Again, good to know the batteries are interchangeable. The props look the same. The batteries look the same. Basically, pretty comparable drone, minus the camera and some of the sensors and the OcuSync 3.0 and 2.0 in the Air 2. So doesn't look that different for those who are contemplating upgrading. I guess we'll see what video modes 10-bit is actually in. I would imagine it would be ideally in at least 4K 24 and 30 or 24, 25, 30. That would probably be the max of the 4K 10-bit ability, but we shall see again in 2 days. And that's it, guys. Just a quick little sharing of some videos and info that I just got tonight. So aloha, guys. If you like this at all, hit the thumbs up button, and appreciate you. And that's it. Good night.